Hey, Metal Maniacs, this is Rad from Korrosive, and you're thrashing it up on Dave Softee's Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
Alrighty, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. From Extreme Thrashers Korrosive, here to talk about the band's latest offering, Toxic Apokalypse, released October 7th, digitally, of 2022, and out on CDN Records, November 18th. Here joining us, we have the vocalist, we have Rad. Welcome, Rad.
Hey, Dave, how are you, man? Glad to be here.
I'm glad that you are here. I never got with you for your previous offering, but that I have to mention, Caustic Horde's killer offering. And when I played it on the air, a lot of people took notice of it and said, who is that? Let me hear more of it. So that was great. Also released through CDN Records, based in Canada. I'm interested to know what led you to sign with that label.
The funny thing about labels is that, there's 1,000 labels out there. And as an unsigned band who was just coming out of recording Caustic Hordes, we were looking for the right label to represent us. Jack, our guitarist, who knew us from way back when, before he even joined the band, knew that we were basically independent and came out with a demo and an EP, one after the other. And he basically told me that, you know what, for a greater reception for the album, it's better if we go label. So after some time, we reached out to a few labels all over the world, and seeing what they could offer us or what we could offer them as an artist. We reached out to CDN of all labels, like we're right in our neck of the woods, and Craig, the president and CEO of CDN Records, upon hearing just like a few tracks of Caustic Chords, he was so happy with the music that he signed us on the spot. And
No doubt.
yeah, and the great thing is like we knew CDN was not only a Canadian label, but they have worldwide distribution, and they're very well received all over the world. Not only representing United States and Canada, but even going so far as Europe, Southeast Asia, and even Russia. So it was a great, and it was a great thing that happened to us when we signed with CDN.
Excellent. It's good to hear that that's working out for you. And as I mentioned, Caustic Chords is a great thrash offering, and I see that the band formed in 2015, and here we have your brand new release. Can we just talk about the rest of the band? Would you like to tell us who makes up the rest of Korrosive?
Correct. One of our guitarists is Neila. He's been with the band for 3 years now. Derek Solomos, our other guitarist, joined the band in 2021, right after COVID hit. During 2020, and he was the guitarist that we auditioned for after one of the original members of the band quit, and so we were looking for somebody that could fill in the shoes that our former guitarist left behind. Our bassist for both albums is Carlos Rodriguez, is a good friend of ours, and he's been also in the local Toronto circuit. And our drummer is Kaveh Afshar. He's in, drummers, they're in a lot of bands, so he's also in a band called Protocol, Into Oblivion, and a bunch of other bands here and there.
Oh, wow, okay. That's excellent. So how did the band get its name? Who selected Korrosive as the band's name? It's a great name. It looks great, the artwork and everything like that. So how did the name come to be for your band?
So when I formed the band in 2015 with the other original members, I was thinking of a name that would be as it sounds like. I want a thrash metal band, but not just thrash. It's going to be extreme. It's going to be brutal sounding, and like the other members were like, "What word when you hear it, it just like resonates and basically tells you that it's face melting thrash." Korrosive. And then, instead of C, we put a K on it, just for a little spin. And,
very good. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, thank you.
Works very well. And here we are to talk about your latest offering, an aggressive masterpiece, total masterpiece, a Toxic Apokalypse. I'm very impressed with Korrosive and the sound of your band, the musicianship, and I love the aggressiveness. And let's learn all about this making of Toxic Apokalypse. Do you write all the words and music, or does the band all get together for this?
Great question. So the way we write music is our guitarists basically come up with the riffs, right? And then, we jam together. Jack would say, "Oh, I got this amazing killer intro riff. Derek, what do you think?" And, Derek comes up with an answer to the intro, and then or vice versa. And our drummer's just like, playing along, maybe do a downbeat here, maybe do a blast here or something like that. And then once we've come up with something, that's when I chime in and I said, okay, maybe this one will have a title like this, and maybe we can talk about this. And lyrics are usually, for the most part, if not all the time, is the last to be written for the song. Let's say, for example, when we wrote Into Necropolis, which is the first song out of the album, Toxic Apokalypse, they came up with this great song right away on the spot, and I said, okay, let me write something about this and then see what you guys think about it. And they were like, okay, this is perfect, and it's a great opening track. And to answer your question, most of the lyrics I write, but our bassist Carlos, he also writes his own lyrics, and then we work together on it. Nice. And you'll see in the credits, there's some songs that Carlos has written all of it on his own, and there's some where it's a collaborative effort, because that's the way we do things in the band. You know, we just like make sure that everybody's happy with the work that's being done.
Very nice. Thank you for telling us about that. And I want to know more about the production of Toxic Apokalypse. I'd like to know what studio this was recorded in. And I see a bunch of names that are associated with the mixing, the mastering, the artwork, everything related to this. But I'd like to hear it from you. So could you tell us who was responsible for the mixing and mastering? And then we could talk about the cover art, which is also very outstanding. And I'll have follow-up questions about that. But let's talk about the actual making of Toxic Apokalypse.
So when TA, as we call it, was like finally like written to completion, we went with the same guy that did Caustic Chords. His name is Ben Erickson. He's a dear friend of the band. It was actually Jack, our guitarist, who found him. He comes from Victoria, BC, and he recorded an album with Jack's former rock band. And, you know, he was telling me that, Ben recorded a song that we covered from System of a Down, and he fucking hit it out of the ballpark. I think this guy can do great wonders for Korrosive. And that's when we, hired him for Caustic Chords. And Caustic Chords, as amazing as it was, it only just got better with Toxic Apokalypse, because like the more we worked with Ben, the more he knew what our sound needed to be like. And Ben's responsible for everything. He's our engineer. He mixed it, and he just like fucking made sure that we sounded big, thick, juicy thrash fucking metal, man, for this album.
They do excellent work. I'm sure you're very happy with the end result. And when I got a message from John Asher, he told me, "Did you get my email and about Korrosive?" I go, "Let me check." And I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to get an interview." So I'm happy that I didn't miss it. Although I didn't catch it right away, I'm glad that we're here to do this. And the artwork also I find to be very outstanding. And I'd like to know more about who designed this as far as the imagery. It reminds me a little bit, I wouldn't say like RoboCop, but it's like a robotic image. And I'm curious to know if this is like a mascot. Does it have a name? So I'd like to know more about the cover art, who designed it, and also the band logo.
All right, so the band logo was something that was just drawn by our old drummer, and then I had a guy clean it up. He's an artist in Australia, and that's when we came up with the final logo. Now, with respect to the albums, so when we came up with Caustic Chords, our bassist Carlos was designing somebody that was supposed to be the mascot, right? For kind of like our own Eddie,
right. I figured, right? Yeah.
So the themes of our songs, most of them, although not all, and our album covers are post-apocalyptic, right? Like what happens when the world goes to shit? What happens when like robot overlords or aliens come, and what would be the scenario, right? So that's what you get with Caustic Chords. You see that we call him the man with the gun because we don't have a name for him, and he's just standing there with this like futuristic weapon, and that design was just like, no, it wasn't rough, but it was great. So what happened with between then and now with Toxic Apokalypse is what happens from Caustic Chords to the next one. It's like you're looking into a story. So when we designed the album for Toxic Apokalypse, and Carlos was saying, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is the future now, and we decided to expound on the mascot, the man with the gun, and make him have more details. As you can see from the first album to the next one, you'll see a vast difference in details with the man with the gun. In the first album it was just stationary, and now it's like he's in action and firing away at these mutated individuals. So when we were in the process of finding an artist for the cover art, Jack told me, okay, buddy, so here's where we pull out the big guns. What are we going to do with the second album cover art? I know. Let's go with Ed fucking Repka. And I said, okay, that sounds like a great idea, but how do we get to him? Ed Repka is the man. He's done all fucking great cover art in like in my opinion, history. You know, he's done Megadeth, he's done Death, he's done Sacred Right, and you know, for a band based out of Toronto that's not literally like even signed with major labels, like we had to reach out to him, and it took us like maybe 4 or 5 months to get a response from him, because like Ed Rep is a very busy man.
Wow.
He gets inquiries from not only any band out there, but he's also doing a lot of work with the big bands, like the major labels and everything. And then after a lot of back and forth, we were able to grab his attention, and then we sent him the sketches, what we wanted to happen and what we wanted it to look like, and Ed just like gave us like a rough sketch after a month, and it was like, holy fuck, no need for editing, man. It was just like, okay, put the colors in. This is what we want for the colors, and that's it. That's the great thing about working with a professional like Ed Repka. If you give him your vision, he'll execute it flawlessly. And that's when we came up with the cover art for Toxic Apokalypse.
He did a wonderful job for you. And the man with the gun is still nameless. He's still nameless, or have you figured? Yeah,
that's
okay.
That's the man with the gun. There's no name.
Okay, very good. I'll remember that for next time, because hopefully we get to do interviews for every future album that you have. So we'll keep in touch about that. Yeah, and so the main reason why we do these interviews is to promote your latest release. So I want to give links out there to the fans of Korrosive to help them in helping support the band. So I'm going to give a bunch of links, and I'm going to start with the label link. That's cdnrecords.com/shop/Korrosive -toxic-apokalypse APOKALYPCE. And of course you have your Bandcamp, korrosivemetal.bandcamp.com, and you also have your social media. You have your facebook.com/corrosive thrash. Same thing on Instagram, instagram.com/corrosive thrash. And then you also have Spotify. I would assume that the label and your Bandcamp will be two of the best places to get the CD. I would like to know what your opinion is, or where you think would be the best place. And also, as far as other merch, I did notice that you have the CDs, the cassettes, the digital downloads. But I was wondering what other merch you may have available for your fans.
So besides the CDs and tapes, we do have like shirts as well, which is available on Bandcamp. And through the CDN label and their partner, we had one of our old designs that we just gave to them, and it's exclusive through CDN, and it's called Twisted Merch. And this year, around summer, we're gonna have vinyl for both albums.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow! That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a very expensive venture. I've been told by other bands that it could be a very costly proposition.
It is. The thing about vinyl, there's like labels that deal exclusively with vinyl, and you know what? Based on our experience, and with thrash, it's not rare, but it's scarce, in my opinion, that vinyl comes out with thrash, especially in our circuit, not about. Yes, and then I think we discussed like it goes to the CDN website, and our Bandcamp has the shirts, so we sell the shirts exclusively through our Bandcamp page.
Very nice. And that's always good to have the shirts and the cassettes and the vinyl. I'm really excited about that. And that's coming this summer, you said.
Yes, vinyl will be coming in summer. There's a backlog even after COVID. Vinyl takes very long to press, and usually there's like an 8-month to even a year backlog. And we're just very fortunate that our label, is like has faith in us, that they've taken on the risk, that they know that both albums, not only Toxic Apokalypse, but even Caustic Chords and Toxic Apokalypse, both vinyl, will do very well in the market. So yeah, we have CDN to thank for that one.
That's cool. Now, question about the vinyl: will it be available in variations besides the basic black? Do you have a color scheme planned, or?
Dude, that's a great question. So, yeah, we haven't told anybody yet. Actually, you're the first person. I'm gonna be telling you. We're not gonna have black vinyl at all. It's gonna be like flat. All all
Yeah.
both albums will have splatter color based on the cover design. Let's say Caustic Horse is like black and red, so it's going to be like a red splatter. For
Yeah.
Toxic, it's going to be like the same like purple green splatter.
That's what I imagined. That's really what I was imagining, but I had to ask because I'm not sure about that. So I appreciate you telling us.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, that's collector's items. Yeah. So also, let's talk about videos. I noticed on the CDN Records YouTube that you have your Fatal Strike official music video.
Right.
And then I seen an official lyric video for Radioactive Scourge, and also a couple of live videos. One was a full show, Live Hellfire, and there was another one for Terminal Violence. So let's start with the I guess we start with the official music video. I see it was shot, directed, and edited by Michael Jari Davidson.
Yep.
And recorded and mixed by Ben Erickson, mastered by Arthur Risk.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's cool because you have all the information right there on the YouTube, or the label has all the information right there on the YouTube. So, what else could we talk about this video, this particular video that you like to get out there to the fans?
Well, Fatal Strike is the music video we filmed right before the album came out. You know, obviously as a way to promote the upcoming album. It was shot in I think it was just a few hours. We did it in a studio, and it was so well done because like Michael also filmed our other music video, Slaughter the Preacher. I don't know if you've seen that on CDN's YouTube channel as well. Michael filmed both music videos for us, both contrasting in design and story. Fatal Strike is more straightforward thrash, it's like a performance video. The other music video, Slaughter the Preacher, is more story driven. If you haven't had a chance to see it, I encourage that you do because it was a fun thing for us to do. Because if you haven't seen it, it's basically us performing inside a church, and the story is there's like a corrupt preacher, and in the end I get to kill the guy. So
sounds like fun. I don't think I've seen that video. I have to definitely check that. And how about on the band's? Does the band have a YouTube channel? Is any of these videos available on the Korrosive channel? If you do have one.
So one thing that we always wanted to do is, when the label helps you, you help them, right? So we always wanted to release any music video through our label because we wanted maximum exposure, not only to help us like gather more views, but also in turn like make sure that we promote the label's channel as well. So that's the reason why we don't upload our videos on our own YouTube channel, because it just makes more sense that the CDN or our label has those music videos. All our official releases are through CDN. So like you mentioned, the Live Hellfire, that was the live set that we performed in back in July when we opened for Exciter. So, and the Radioactive Scourge lyric video, even our very first music video called Burning Earth 2029, which was from the Caustic Horse album, is also available on CDN's YouTube channel. Okay,
thank you for that information. And do you think you'll have any more videos or CDN?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Oh, sure, man. We've been discussing it for quite some time, and one of the music videos that we plan to film is for the track "Hail the Hellfire" from Toxic Apokalypse. I'm not going to spill too much details about it, but it's going to be like a sick music video. It's going to have a lot of explosions and firepower, if you will. That's all I can say. But
that's great. Yeah, that's great. That's great just to know that you're going to have more music videos. However, whether they're live performance or video or visualizer or official, just good to have new videos. That's good news.
For sure.
And thanks to your Facebook, I could see that you have been performing in support of Toxic Apokalypse. I've seen you have a bunch of dates of past performances. Would you like the opportunity to talk or mention any of your past performances as far as highlights that stand out in your mind? Anything that you'd like to speak of?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I mean, 2022 was a great year for us, and we were given the opportunity to open for some of the biggest bands even just in our neck of the woods, like we were given the opportunity to open for Voivod, and then followed by Exciter, and then more recently to open for Accept. So
wow,
yeah, and it was just, I don't know what the word to use it, but it was like cathartic to get that opportunity, especially with Exciter. One of the like godfathers of like metal for us, and being a fan of the band, and getting to share the same stage as they do, it was just like unreal, man. So that's the reason why we're happy with all our past performances opening for other bands, like I mentioned Voivod and Accept, but Exciter was something else, and that's the reason why we filmed our set there, because we knew it was going to be one of the best shows we've ever played. I don't know if you've seen the whole video for Live Hellfire, but everything just aligned for that show. I mean, great sound. We played in this place called the Rock Pile here in Toronto, and one of the best sound engineers on the fucking planet, Jake Disman, like mixed our set. And we were on point, and the crowd was absolutely going nuts. I've had shows where people mosh through circle pits, but I've never experienced until that night like people crowd surfing and coming up on stage. So that was like one of those shows that will stick with me for a very long time, if not forever, buddy.
That's excellent. And do you have any shows coming up that you'd like to spread the word on? I didn't see any future events coming up, so I would imagine you're going to be busy over the summertime with maybe festivals or others. But yeah, we'd like to hear what's coming up.
So there's something coming on April, but I'm not allowed to discuss it yet. But It's going to be a big show, and it's going to be with one of the most badass thrash metal bands out there. And once it comes out, I'll be at full liberty to discuss it, but I'm just not able to right now. But that's April, and before that, like the first quarter of the year, we all agreed in the band that we would take some time off, just like playing shows, because like besides playing the band, we all have like day jobs, so we wanted to focus on those things. But we're already working on album number 3. And that's what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. We're actually writing songs now for album number 3. We're going to be coming out with probably an EP before the full album for 2024. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming. So that's why we took a little pause in playing shows. But when summer comes or spring comes first, we are planning to do shows outside of our province of Ontario. And maybe do a circuit in BC, Alberta, PEI, out of province in our country, and then eventually get to the U.S. and South America.
Excellent, that's great news. And it seems almost like you have a new album every year, so you're at a very high level pace, and you're bringing quality out there. A lot of bands, they take 3 or 4 years in between albums, and sometimes their albums aren't really that great, but you have 2 back-to-back outstanding killer offerings, and you're working on the next one, so I'm really happy to hear about that. And we'll be here to talk about that when that time comes, when it is released. Yeah, so congratulations on that. You mentioned about your day job. Would you like to talk about what you do when you're not doing the band?
Okay, me personally, I work in the security industry. I run a security company that provides security services for the government, and that's my day job. Our drummer works in a hospital, and Derek, our guitarist, works as a guitar teacher. Jack is the guy that does video editing, and he's actually the one who edited Live Hellfire. And you see all those amazing shots. That's all Jack. And then Carlos works in the automotive industry.
As a salesman, or does he actually help in the assembly of the cars?
Deals with parts.
And, okay, I got you. Okay, good. That's interesting. everybody's busy with that. That's good that you have a regular job, and hopefully you'll be so famous you'll never have to worry about a regular job anymore. But you know how the industry is dealing in the underground, you know. But you have such a great product; it's unbelievable.
No, I mean, it's so funny that you mentioned that because, like, it's funny because like a lot of bands, even to this day, like they still have. There's nothing wrong with having that hope and ambition that, oh yeah, one of these days I'm gonna be so fucking famous like Slayer that I don't have to work. I'll just do touring, and I mean, yeah, that's amazing, man. But don't think about it just like or doing it for the money or fame. Just make sure that you love your craft, right? And that's the thing,
True.
man. We all
True. Yeah.
when we put the time for Korrosive music is we do it for the love of it and not just like have a goal of like, oh, I want to be famous, I want to be like Havoc, I want to be like Metallica, I want to be like Lazarus AD and shit, or Warbringer, whatever fancies your boat, or we just do it for the love of the music, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you doing what you do, and I've noticed over the last few years, thrash has really been taken over by Canadian bands. I mean, some really killer offerings from Canada. USA, there's always something, but I've been doing a lot of interviews over the last few years with Canadian thrash metal bands, so I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you, man. And I mean, Canada, from us, from the inside looking out, we always have this assumption that maybe Americans or people in Europe are not like going to be receptive to our music because there's so many bands or music out there, especially with the major labels and whatnot. But that was not the case at all. Like speaking, from my own experience, like with our Bandcamp page and CDN's shop, like me and myself and the owner of the label, we just we chat every once in a while, and he's saying like Rad, we're getting orders from all over the world. Like he was telling me like a month ago that there was this label in Japan that wanted to order like 100 of our CDs, like the Toxic Apokalypse, and he's doing trades and deals with distribution labels in Germany. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, are you serious? Like, people really listen to Canadian music outside of like our own neck of the woods? Like, I mean, that's amazing for us because like Canadian bands are actually getting the coverage that they deserve, and it just makes us so happy to hear that as Canadians.
It's about time, but it's the music. It speaks for itself. It stands by itself. If you were in China or Russia or any other part of the world, it's your music is your music, and I would support it whether you're from Canada, USA, or any other part of the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, you might find out there that there is some sort of biased or what would you say, discrimination because jokes or whatever. But I mean, the music's outstanding. It doesn't matter. I mean, what I mean by it doesn't matter. All right, you're from Canada. That's not an issue. If you're from any other part, Mexico, not an issue. Wherever you're from, the music is what it's about, and the music is what it is, and that's why you're getting so much exposure, or people are so much interested in your music. It doesn't matter so much that you're a Canadian band. It's the fact that the music is outstanding.
That's correct, man, and we're so happy to hear that. And a lot of our orders from our own Bandcamp page are coming from the U.S. and it even surpassed our orders from Canada itself. And we're just so grateful that a lot of like Americans are actually like listening to our music and ordering them and like sending us like these amazing messages that they appreciate that the stuff that we do. And for us as artists, it's just like vindication. That's the word that I would use. That yes, I mean, it just makes us so happy to hear that.
Well, I believe that music is life, and music fits the life that we're in, and we need your music, this aggressive thrash metal, to survive the world that we're in today. That's how I feel, anyway.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. But do you want to talk about gear? I mean, you could talk about your microphones. If you want to talk about what the other members of the band play, we could talk about that. If that's not something that you're into talking about, that's not a problem. But I want to give you the opportunity if you want to.
I wish I was well versed in my mates' gear, but all I do is just like throw out my voice, and that's about it. Like, I don't even listen to half the time when they're talking about gear, man, and I'm so sorry for that. I should
No,
have
don't be
brought.
sorry. Your voice is your instrument, and how do you maintain your voice? We can talk about that.
Oh, how do I maintain my voice? The funny thing about being a vocalist is that I get asked this question all the time. That, oh, how do you do your voice? What training have you done? What precautions do you take? Like, honestly, man, I'll just be perfectly honest about it. I don't know what to tell you, but I didn't train for this. It's just something that came out of me. It's like any other fan of metal. Like when you're young or youngish, you listen to the music that you like, and you sometimes emulate the vocal styles of the singer. For instance, like I'm a big Testament fan, and I tried to sing like Chuck Billy when I was younger, and then you have your Slayer, and somewhere down the line, I found my own voice, and that was the result of Caustic Chords. And then that was it. I have no training because like I see all these singers, and they're saying, "Oh, you got to do this. You have to do this training." And big ups for them, man. Like big respect to these guys that do all this training and shit. But it's something that I never did. But I was just hopeful that people like the what I put out there. And as for the precautions, I don't do anything, man. I'm actually doing a lot of bad stuff that I'm not supposed to. Like, I'm drinking cold stuff before or after shows, which I was told like, oh, that's not good for you. Really? Okay. So I'll put down my beer and then whatever, man.
I hear you. So you've been blessed with a natural gift. So congratulations.
No. I wouldn't say that, man. I was just like, as a metal singer, it's just like you give it everything you got. I think that's the right way of saying things. Like, whatever comes out of me, it's just like I have to do it in a way where it'll fit the song or it'll fit our style of thrash, and just give it everything you got, man, and try not to sound like anybody else, and just be yourself, and that's the thing that I'm doing, just like being myself and just giving everything I have to every song and every performance.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate that. Keep up the good work, and look forward to the follow-ups and every album you have out there, like I said. And I want to thank you, Rad, for spending time with us tonight on the Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio. I do believe we learned much more about Korrosive. At this time, would you like to say anything to your fans that are tuning in?
Well, I just want to say thank you very much to all the fans of Metal Messiah and metal in general. Like, you guys have been amazing, and we are so very grateful that you're all like listening to Korrosive and buying our merch through our own Bandcamp and our label. And we just want to let you know that we're very appreciative of all the efforts and the orders and the messages that you give us. And we just want to say that we're not going to stop. We're going to keep thrashing until every bone in our body breaks, or we no longer can do it. That's the one promise we can give you. If you're willing to listen to us, we're just gonna keep fucking banging out new tunes, year after year, man.
We're looking forward to that. And like I said, keep up the good work and stay healthy. And before we go crank up more tunes off of Toxic Apokalypse, I just want to make sure that we covered everything we can. That being said, is there anything else that you'd like to bring out to the Korrosive fans that we have yet to do? Is there anything that we've missed or anything that you want to bring out? Here's your opportunity to do so. I want to make sure we covered everything we can.
Oh, I think we've already covered everything, buddy. I think you've done an amazing job, doing this interview, and I couldn't be more grateful, man.
Well, you can count on this every time you have a new release. You'll have a place here on Metal Messiah Radio on the Metal Meltdown, and I look forward to a long, happy relationship as far as supporting Korrosive, and hopefully get to meet you in person here in the States doing a show in New York or something like that. That would be a gift. That would be nice.
Oh, absolutely, man. You know what? That could be something that we're going to make happen this year. We're going to go down to New York, and we're going to play a fucking killer show with like the best thrash metal New York has to offer, and we're going to make it a fucking killer night, bro.
Sounds like fun. I can't wait for that. And I just want to wish you and all in Korrosive a happy new year. You had mentioned earlier in the interview about COVID, but from bands that I speak to from Canada, COVID's never really affected them. So I hope it never affects you, that you could stay healthy and keep producing everything that you want to do. An album every year, a new interview every year, everything that you're doing, it's a win-win for everybody. So I appreciate everything that you do. And may you have many more years to come to bring us this great music so that we could be here to talk about it. And I wish you the best of success. And let's hope that the industry grows with you and that you could actually prosper and benefit from your experience and from your great offerings.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate that.
All right. Cheers to you and everyone in Korrosive. Let's go crank up some more Korrosive with music off of Toxic Apokalypse. Crank it up loud.